time a message seems to grab us, I would think, well, I just might try it. It's a nexus of choice, persuasion, and that is advertising. Welcome to another interesting edition of the Magnate. And on today's edition of this program, we'll be taking a deep look into the advertising world. What does it entail to be an advertiser? How can one become an advertiser? Well, we have a media guru in the house, an advertiser par excellence, who will be analyzing what it entails. Who is he? Let's find out.
Yinka Adebayo was born on Thursday, February 26, 1970 in Lagos to the family of Alhaji and Alhaja Adebayo. He is an indigenous of Abeokuta in Ogun State, but has spent most of his life in Lagos. He is well qualified to be referred to as a Lagosian. He attended Obele Primary School and Obele Community High School on Randall Avenue in Threelegged, Lagos, for his primary and post-primary education. He later gained admission into Ogun State Polytechnic, Abeokuta, now known as Moshood Abiola Polytechnic, in 1988. To study mass communication. For his news writing skill, Yinka was generally known in school as editor, and he emerged as the overall best student in print journalism. Yinka's foray into the field of marketing communication started with Promoserve Limited, Threelegged, where he had his internship between 1989 and 1990. After his graduation in 1993, he proceeded to Imo State for his National Youth Service Corps and served with the Public Relations Department of Imo State Police Command. Based on his outstanding performance during his internship, Yinka was immediately absorbed into Promoserve Limited as a full staff after his youth service. His consistency, high performance earned him so many awards in the agency, where he also emerged as Staff of the Year. In 1998, he proceeded to University of Ado-Ekiti, Ekiti State, for his MBA program with specialization in marketing, and attended the prestigious Lagos Business School for the Advanced Management Program, AMP. Yinka has been a consistent high performer, winning awards, getting recognized and rewarded in all the places he has worked, including Media Reach OMD, as a dedicated and committed staff. His passion for the job and knack for excellence can be attested to by those who have worked with him or know him. He has delivered several papers on advertising, marketing, negotiation, entertainment industry, and supported a couple of media organizations in their repacking and reposition efforts for growth and profitability. Yinka was in 2019 recognized by one of industry magazine Brand Campaign as one of the 50 most influential marketing communication practitioners in Nigeria. And in 2020, he was also recognized as Outstanding Media Personality of the Decade. He currently heads up the procurement arm of OMG Wika Business and designated as Executive Director, Media Investment. He is a full member of Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria, APCON, and ESCO member of Media Independent Association of Nigeria, MEPAN. Owing to his strong belief in extending the frontiers of knowledge, Yinka is a faculty member of Alphabet Media Academy, where he lectures and imparts marketing communication skills and knowledge to the upcoming professionals. Yinka Adebayo is a good family man. He got married to Yetunde on the December 30th, 2000, 20 years ago. God in His infinite mercy has blessed the union with 4 amazing children. Yinka loves reading, networking, engaging in intellectual discussions. He plays table tennis and football. He is an ardent supporter of Manchester United Football Club. As Yinka would always say, you cannot be packaging brands and leave yourself unpackaged.
Welcome back. Joining me now here in the studio is Mr. Yinka Adebayo. Thank you very much for liking our course. That was such an interesting citation read. And one thing that caught me during the reading of the profile was the quote where you said, cannot be packaging brand without packaging yourself. What does that entail?
Well, basically the fact that you must leave the brand. You cannot be packaging brand and leaving yourself unpackaged. Because the implication of that really is that you end up contributing immensely to the growth of the brand while you are still here. And when the brand outgrows you, the tendency is that the brand looks down on you. So you must continually grow yourself at par with the brand. So as you're packaging brand, package yourself.
So to clear the air first, is there a difference between advertising and marketing?
Well, I must say that advertising is actually a subset of marketing. Marketing is a lot broad, which of course happens to do, of course, you probably must have heard things like the 4 P's of marketing. Product, price, place, promotion, and some people even argue that there's what they call the 5th P, which is people.
People.
Yes, but more importantly, people, of course, because you are relating with people anyway. So, but more importantly is that advertising is just that aspect of, one aspect of the P, which is promotion. If you've produced a product, if it's not well promoted, people are not likely to know. So you need to use advertising to promote that process. So it's one of the production elements that's used to
What are the arms of advertising that we have, the
Well,
subsect?
well, advertising, of course, there are various arms of advertising. You see, advertising actually started from a situation where everything was done in-house. I mean, where you have the era of the full service agency, where you could have the creative, you could have the media, you could have the production that either produces TV or radio commercial, you could have the print. But it got to a point where clients now felt the need for specialization. And that is what now brought in some level of declamation to say, hey, let's have the creative agency do the creative bit. Let's have the media. And it's possible for you to spend about, for instance, 5 million naira producing a creative material.
Advert. Okay.
But you can actually spend hundreds of millions to
promote
sweat it. And for years. So meaning there's a need for clients to pay more attention to that element of advertising, which is actually the media. And that was all led to the birth of media agencies. So in terms of advertising, there are various arms. You could be in the creative arm, you could be in the production arm, you can even be in the finance arm, you can even be in the admin arm
of advertising. A lot of people get it confused. For example, I just finished school, and then I'm thinking of going into advertising. And then when you apply for jobs, you don't have experience, you don't have certification. So where do you start? Do you start with the experience first, or you start with the certification first?
Well, I think the first thing is that the good thing about the advertising world is that it's very, very liberal, meaning that we've seen people who are into sciences and they get into advertising world and they excel. And so it's not really, so it's a combination of both art and science. What that calls for is the fact that you must have that innate ability to be creative. Creativity is actually the core of advertising. For me, one of the two parameters I use is the fact that you must be somebody who has a kind of like analytical mind. And equally, it must be a skillful negotiator. And of course, all of this put together and with your creativity, the sky at the end of the day might not be your limits after all. So you must develop that ability to see beyond the ordinary. If you are seated with TV, if you are listening to radio, you begin to look out for opportunities.
That's why this creative mind, like very creative
mind can come into play.
So at what point did you go into advertising and marketing?
That's a tough question. Advertising called me rather than me going out
for it.
Because really, and what I mean by that was the fact that after my school start, my ambition was actually to go into study accountancy or business admin. But while I was still waiting for admission to university, something came by the side, which was getting admitted to Ogun State Polytechnic to come and study mass comm. So I felt, look, let me use that as a stopgap, hoping that I'll still go back to my interest. But lo and behold, after the first year, I think I still recall vividly one of my experiences, because then there was a lecturer of ours who came to the class and gave us a kind of assignment to say, hey guys, you guys are rookie. You are supposed to be going out to cover news and all of that. So I'm going to read out a script to you, and you're expected to generate a news story from it. And he read it. But fortunately for me, while I was growing up, my dad used to take me to school, and what he does is that he will buy a copy of Daily Time. I will drop it on my lap. While he's driving, he will be asking me to read to his earrings, and I'll be doing that. Never knew that I was getting trained as a journalist. So I recall vividly that when the lecturer read out the script and wrote us to write the story, and we submitted, the next day when he was coming to class, he singled out my paper and said, who wrote this? And he read it, and I still recall the headline I wrote then. The federal military government has again been commended for introducing the Structural Adjustment Program, SAP, which has turned many Nigerians into innovative elements rather than mass men. That was the intro. And he said that kind of intro can only come from somebody who's an editor of Daily Times. And since that day, they started calling me editor.
I think I saw that in your profile.
So, and with that kind of background, we went to that was print journalism, a couple of things like that. So I think I just developed the pair to say, hey, this field. So the more I got exposed to it, the more my mind got open to a couple of other areas. And I felt, look, this particular area too is not too bad. And I felt, look, let me just stay in. And yeah.
So, as a television production company or television program producer, what do you think is the link between a television production company and an advertiser? Like, where do they meet?
Well, really, I think the meeting point is actually
business.
the live wire of any business, which is money.
Money.
Because you're about to produce a content,
needs
to sustain it. So your ability to sustain it better than you generating enough fund, because creativity does not strive on empty stomach. So what that means is that there must be a link to say, hey, what are the advertisers looking for? How can I package my content in such a way that will be appealing to the advertiser? Ultimately, it's not really the advertiser that you're looking for, it's the audience.
Yeah.
Because what the advertiser is seeking out to reach is the audience. So if you're able to package your content in such a way that appeals to the audience,
like
naturally advertiser will come in and be looking for you.
It's been a very, very enlightening time with you here, but we'll be going on a quick break now. Welcome back to the Magnate, and this is the digital marketing aspect of the show. So today, I'm sure you know me by now. My name is Murtado Olajobi, and I have
Abolari Amin.
So today we'll be discussing Gen Z, and for me, this is a very interesting topic of discussion. And so we'd like to enlighten you about Gen Z, and what is it about Gen Z? Everyone seems to be Gen Z, right? So today we'll be sharing ideas on Gen Z.
And how they can impact on your business growth and even personal growth.
How can they affect your business?
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? Gen Z, what are Gen Z? Who are they?
It's really one of the very, very interesting things about this 21st century. It is the fact that a lot of things spring up. And you start hearing one term now. So Gen Z is here and here to stay. So who are they? So technically, they're just people born from the year 2000 and above, right?
2000.
So they're the youngest of our generation. Right. These people are changing the way we see business.
Right.
I'm Gen Z, you're Gen Z.
Right.
Right. So it's
the way we see business is different from the way millennials will see business. Right.
Being different from the way millennials and other old people see business.
Yeah.
So instead of seeing things in an analog way, we now start thinking in endless possibilities, flexibility. And I want you to expand on that. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so flexibility, it's the possibilities are endless. You have technology, your phone. We put on the phone using the power button, but I can decide not to go through the power button. I can literally turn on my phone with my computer. And today there's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's Twitter. Tomorrow there may be X network, Y network, Z network.
That's one reason
you need to adapt.
We need to pay attention to Gen Z because Gen Z are very, very fast.
And they're running the digital economy.
They've abandoned Facebook literally.
Last time you used Facebook?
I can't remember the last time I used Facebook.
I don't use Facebook anymore.
So they are adapting quickly. And one thing businesses need to learn is that you need to adapt with these people because they're going to take over the world, obviously. These people are going to grow up. We're going to grow up with that mentality of change and quick rapid flexibility.
You want it instantly. Quick deliveries.
That's it.
Ads, your Netflix on your phone.
Right.
And you want it instantly. And that is change.
And businesses need to start thinking about that and how that can affect the growth, the revenue, the impact.
How can Gen Z affect businesses? What do they need to pay attention to?
So, like just the Facebook example we used, it definitely would affect the revenue of Facebook. It may not be very significant to the extent that they'll go bankrupt and all, but it will definitely affect their revenue.
So businesses need to switch.
They need to switch and they need to redefine their tone, their voice, their strategy, their brand.
Right.
Imagine giving me I give you a landline or just a phone with a keypad. This is what do I want to use it for? That's the same way a lot of businesses look at business and how they relate with people. You keep giving people phones with keypad when people are using smartphones.
Right. So you need to follow the trend.
Follow the trend
and adapt quickly.
Quickly.
So Gen Z are literally they run most of the internet.
They run it.
You need to pay attention to where they are.
And they move the crowd also. They move the crowd. That's one thing that's very, very tactical about Gen Z. Where they go, they tend to draw people along with them. So even millennials follow them. TikTok came around and
just
within many months.
It was months, and then started having millions of views, and then it's still organic. And for companies that took advantage of TikTok when it first came up, they're probably way ahead than other companies that later.
So I think the baseline is that Gen Z are here and they're very, very young, and they are the people that we normally consider naive. They are the people that we normally consider inexperienced, but they are driving the market. in businesses.
Where they go, the market
Where they
goes.
go, the market
so companies
goes.
need to go that way so that they can go into the market, right?
Simply
So
said,
Gen Z are going to Instagram, you need to follow them to
Follow them
Instagram
to
and find a
Instagram.
strategy that works for Instagram.
Definitely.
Interesting.
Simply said, not easily done, right? So it is you saying that you're going to abandon that traditional mindset that you have about marketing and start investing in social media.
Right.
You know the budget that companies spend on social media marketing
Right.
and online marketing, right?
So, I mean, you just need to follow the market, right?
Follow the market and get your revenue. So that's the baseline. Follow the market, get your revenue, speak to your audience. Gen Z are here to stay, and if you're going to survive, you need to lend a voice to them so they can lend you growth.
And don't forget to check our social media. It will be on the screen.
On the screen, and you
then
can also contact us for sponsorship to hear more from us. Thank you so much.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is still the Magnate, and with me here in the studio is still Mr. Yinka Adebayo. Thank you very much for still staying with us, sir. Before we went on the break, we were analyzing what it entails to be an advertiser. So for a young mind, especially someone who has not even probably gained admission, what should they look out for when aspiring to go into advertising?
Like I said, the field you study here might be important because, of course, there are some field that you study that gives you kind of like edge. You study things like mass communication, marketing, communication arts, and the rest of them. But more importantly, is the fact that it's an industry that is very liberal, meaning because it's equally a game of numbers. Meaning, if you're into sciences, you can actually be relevant to in advertising. Because of course you get to a point that if you are somebody who is very good with numerate skills, then of course media independence is probably for you because it's a game of numbers. And like they say in life, what you cannot count, you cannot manage.
Wow, yeah.
The moment you can count, it becomes easy for you to manage. So really, but for me, I would say irrespective of whatever course or discipline, the first thing is the fact that once you're a graduate, the foundation has been laid. The next thing for you is probably to now see how you move ahead to develop yourself within that industry. And that's where you have things like AppCon, where they actually have trainings and other programs that introduce you gradually to whatever foundation you've laid as a graduate. You can now build on that. You can take marketing courses and all of that, just to ensure that you are now you are broadening your horizon and you are thinking in line of brand building and positioning.
So is there any similarities between, because I know like you used to be part of the executive of MIMPAN. Is there an similarity between MIMPAN and AppCon?
Well, of course, MIPAN is also actually one of the subsets of advertising.
Oh.
Because you find out that let's look at it. Advertising there's a three leg to advertising, but we call it the tripod of advertising. Okay. You have the client, you have the agency, you have the media. Now focusing on the agency, you have the creative agency. In fact, before now it used to be full service agency, where they do everything for clients. They get the brief, they do the creative, they plan the media, they buy the media, everything. But go to a point where client now say, look, that responsibility is too much. Let's spread it. Let's split it. And that's why you now have full service agency. Then you now have media agency. The media agency now focusing only on the arm of payment. I mean, planning and buying media. So say buying of airspace, buying of time, and buying of it. And the whole essence, what media planning brings to the table is the fact that they bring in media specialists who are able to advise clients on how to buy cost effectively and efficiently to deliver value. And it's actually a business that is aimed on high volume, low manage, meaning you attract more volume from your client. If I walk up to a TV station and tell them that, look, this year I'm going to be spending 250 million with you. Certainly, there must be me listening here.
Yes, definitely.
And that's what media independent brings to the table. Commitment of high volume to media owners in order to get the benefit of savings in terms of discounts for clients, so that those clients can be in a position to do more. So meaning they are having more value for their media investments. And we are very careful as a professional not to call it media spend, because if you spend, you might not be expecting anything in return. It's actually investment, because there's high ROI, which most clients are looking for. So whatever money is given to you, you must be sure that it's judiciously and effectively utilized so that it delivers value that the client can see in terms of numbers.
I remember during your presentation at MCON where you talked about marketing content. Do you believe there's any program or an idea that can be marketed? When it comes to developing programs, like developmental programs where the main aim of creating the program is not necessarily to make profit from it. How do you think one can market such
Well, I think the
program?
first thing, and I think that's where most of us get it wrong. Oftentimes we produce program because we believe is what I like. But the question is the people. Is that what they like?
Yeah,
I think the focus should be more on the people. What exactly? And that's
What do
why
they
research
want?
is
Very
important.
important, yeah.
You need to research. And constantly, because there are some people who have only succeeded in producing programs that they are the only one watching. So you do expect advertisers to follow suit. So you must be able to constantly upgrade, constantly interact with people to understand what they want, how they want it, where they want it, and when they want it. Once you're able to provide that answer, well, based on research, you can be sure that once the content is produced, they will readily embrace it and take ownership of it. And I think that research should be the guiding principle, whether it's a talk show, a magazine program, a drama, comedy, whatever. Make sure it's well researched to know what people want, how they want it, and be able to dish it out to them.
Thank you very much, sir. So you've been hammering on audience research. What exactly does this entail, and how do you go by? How do you go by it?
You see, audience research is multifaceted. And when I say multifaceted, it depends on what you want to extract. My focus might be, okay, fine, I want to know, out of the 200 million Nigerian population, I want to know how many of them watch TV. That is, I want to understand their media habits. That's a different harm. But I can equally go to the extent to say, hey, I'm thinking of coming up with the educational content. How do they want it? Who is that? The question you begin to ask at that point to say, who exactly am I TG? Maybe I'm looking for people within the age bracket of 7 to 15. If they are, there's what we call omnibus survey, that you can gather a limited number of them, show them, and see how they react to it. And that reaction, there are so many ways by which you can do it. You can even put them in a room, just show them, and not be there, so that they feel free. And you are probably staying somewhere, hiding somewhere to observe how they react to it. All those reactions are things that can give you valuable information. Those are the structured approach. But for me, I equally take this audience research beyond that to say, even as you go out, as you interact with friends, I know a couple of times where ideas have come to me at parties. Just by talking, somebody can just drop something and say, it's a form of research. And as an advertiser, you always must be in a position to put on your thinking cap. Anything can drop on you at any time. Your ability to keep it, pin it, and use it ultimately makes a difference. So you could have the structured approach. There is also the unstructured approach, because you see, in marketing, you need to draw the line between and understand the fact that there's a clear difference between what people say and what people do. And what will make you excel as a marketing person is to relate more with what people do than what they say. If you give people a questionnaire, anybody can feel anything. But in the closest of their house, what exactly do they do? And it's what they do that really matters. It's the one that can actually make or mark your advertising efforts. So you must develop the skill to unveil that.
How has digitalization affected advertising, especially in Nigeria?
Well, I think it has provided more avenue for people to reach out. So for me, rather than the traditional TV, radio, there are so many hands right now by which you can reach out. Digital, and everybody has access to it. So it gives you opportunity to reach more people. And people these days are getting more restless, more impatient.
So they don't have to wait for planned program.
Gone are the days when we used to sit before NTA and wait till 4 p.m. People want information on the go, and your ability to give it to them. It's what makes the difference. So, and I think that's one thing that digital brings to the table. And more importantly, digital has brought to the table the issue of ROI, which I mentioned earlier, to say, hey, I can look at using the digital space, I tell you the number of people who have viewed watch, and how they are reacting. So it's spot on. So there you can see what is being delivered and how it is being delivered, and with proof of delivery.
So you're talking about audience and rating. How authentic is this rating, especially because we know it's 2D rating. Most advertisers feel like, there are people watching these adverts, this program rather. So how effective or how authentic would you say these ratings are?
Yeah, I would say it's not yet where it should be, but it's a good thing that the train has left the station.
Definitely.
Because if the train has not left the station, I wonder where we'll be. Because interestingly for us, most of those who control the large marketing budget, they are not Nigerians. These are multinationals. And the only attraction for them coming into this country is, wow, we head of the country, a population of 120 or 200 million people. Plus. That should be. And when they come in here, they see these people, they are not laid back. These are energetic, active, vibrant people. They can do a whole lot with such population. And these are people who have operated in developed markets where number is the name of the game. Where they need to say, okay, fine, if I need to spend 100 million on this particular station, you must be able to give me some metrics to show me what it's capable of delivering in terms of audience, so that I'll be able to invest. That is why I will say, yes, our data gathering might not be where it should be for now, but it's a good thing that when they arrive, we had something to show them. Now coming back home, in terms of delivery, I think the method that we use currently is we are the fourth release, which is people's meter. Meaning that we give people questionnaire, they fill, and they return, you gather your data. But between me and you, even those who are gathering the data, they can only work with what has been provided to them.
Definitely.
But we must equally be, we must also be conscious of the habit of the average Nigerian. I'll start an example. I was traveling with a client of mine. One of the clients is a banking, is a corporate affairs director of a bank, and we are traveling to Abuja. And in the aircraft, we have many of the top executive commissioners, ministers, House of Rep, and they were all with the newspapers, and they were all reading. And the guy was saying, hey, Yinka, these are the kind of people I've loved to talk to. So those are the kind of things that research will do for you. But like I said, research is numbers, but there's always a story behind the number that you must be able to speak to, so as to make meaning out of the numbers and use it judiciously to advantage.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Well, sadly, this is going to be we're going to be drawing today's curtain on today's edition of the program. Join me next week as we continue on advertising. What does advertising entail? And don't forget to follow us on our IG page at the Magnate TV on Facebook and Instagram. And yes, this my lovely outfit was produced by Adele Fashion Inspire. You can follow him on his IG page at Adele Fashion Inspire on Instagram, or call the number on your screen. Till we meet next week, I am Ibrahim Olaguju.